Hey there, G3 here, and today I'm starting a new series on value in Age of Sigmar. One of the awesome things about Age of Sigmar, I think, for Games Workshop specifically, that we haven't seen from them before is that they're essentially giving you the rules to all the models for free. And this allows you to kind of pick and choose better what you want to buy. And while it seems weird because they're giving it to you for free, I actually think this is a really smart move and something other companies have been doing because more people are going to buy more models. At least I will. One of the things that stops me at 40k is that I'm not going to buy a codex, even though I think that some Cadian Guard from Imperial Guard, for example, look cool. I'm not going to buy them because I'm going to have to buy a whole codex and all this other stuff if I just want to ally one unit of them or something. So that's why I think Age of Sigmar is really cool. And then, so I'm going to do this series about what's the best value per unit and breaking all this down. This is the kind of information you can just do for free. I'm just using the General's Handbook. Now, one important caveat is that the open play, which is how the game says it's supposed to work in the main 4-page packet core rules, still really awesome. And I actually recommend people try out that version before buying or before going into match play. But that being said, this is going to be using match play as, from what I can gather from YouTube and from my local shop, as most people are playing match play. So I'm going to look at this first from the getting started standpoint, the getting started boxes, and then move into all of the allegiances and talk about what units are the best value, I think, in terms of money. And also maybe some other stuff. But I won't really be getting into the rules specifically, but this is mostly about how to essentially pay the what models are going to give you the most bang for your buck, I would say. And how fast you can get to 1,000-point Vanguard army. Start playing, some match play. So first, to just take a look at these. These are all the start collecting boxes. Now, I'm using the price point listed on GW's website without tax. It doesn't really matter as long as they're all coming from the same price point. So if you can get one of these cheaper, obviously do. A lot of places do 20% discount. The point is that they're all, I'm using $85, they're all at the same price point. Now, if you, from secondhand for someone who's selling it or something, if you can find something for cheaper, you can easily do these equations yourself, and I'll kind of walk you through those. So this is going to be using the $85 price point. So we have in the top cells here, the name of the start collecting box, the allegiance. You can see there are more chaos than anything. Order only has 3, I think. Death has even fewer than that. 1, 2. Destruction has 2. Then we have the contents. These are just abbreviated. Then we have the number of full units, which I'll get into. The number of models in the box. The dollars per model that you're spending, which is, again, just the number of... It's just $85 divided by the number of models. The points per box and the points per dollar. This is the amount of points you're getting in the box divided by 85, or whatever the price point you're buying the box at is. So this is a great way to compare value. Now, this will probably be the main thing that we're looking at, and one thing to keep in mind as a sense of scale, PPD or points per dollar, a 5.0 points per dollar will get you an 1,000-point army at $200. So that's essentially a good way of looking at it. Now, I think that's a little wargaming is expensive, and you kind of understand that going in. But I think if you can strive and get your points per dollar as high as possible when you buy your models, specifically trying to get that 10.0, you can get a 1,000-point army for $100, which is, really great in Games Workshop standards. So let's dive right in. First up, we have Stormcast Eternals. Weirdly, as being the kind of face of Age of Sigmar, they didn't really turn up as being very valuable in terms of the start collecting box. Now, if you like their aesthetic, there's some really cool options, and obviously buy whatever you want to buy. But in that box, you're gonna get 3 full units, right? But 4, I guess, technical units. So this is some weird thing that these slashes, they mean that some of them, when they provide the models, aren't the minimum number required by the General's Handbook when doing point values, and you have to pay that full point cost anyway. So, for instance, Retributors in General's Handbook are 220 points per 5, and you would have to pay 220 for the 2 that they give you in this. So, this slash here is saying, well, if you count those 2 Retributors as a full unit, it's going to be 520 points in that box. But that's kind of misleading. It's really 300 because let's, take out the 220. Because 2 out of 5, that's not even a majority. And while Retributors are really good, 2 of them is not the same as 5 of them, obviously. So we only have 3 full units out of the 4 units you're provided. You do get 11 models per box, so this is more about if you want a horde type army, and then $7.73 per model when you just divide that out, which is a little high. It's also a good way to compare, I think, when buying, when looking at do I want to buy a Lord Celestant by itself? No, you should definitely, if you want a Lord Celestant and you're thinking about thinking about Stormcast, think about that you're getting it for $7.73 if you get it in this box, and you also get the other stuff. So yeah, like I said, 300 to 520 points, really more 300, which is a long ways off from 1,000, and you're looking at points per dollar of 3.53 to 6.12 if you count that Retributors. I really don't, so 3.53, not really great value per box. But then again, if you like it, no problem. These are kind of in random order, but I'll just go down in the way I list them. It was like what I saw on the site, so. Slaves to Darkness, the kind of generic chaos. You have Sorcerer Lord, a Chariot, 5 Chaos Knights, and 12 Chaos Warriors. This is 4 full units. Oh, I apologize. I must have wrote this wrong. I think it's Chaos Warriors are in 10, and so you get 600 points really, but if you want to count the 2, then you would get technically 780. Yes, so Chaos Warriors come in units of 10, and so if you count these 2 extra that you get, which you would have to pay for if you fielded all 12, then it would be 780. But that's, again, disingenuous, which is why I am saying it's pretty much the lower one. So 600 points, already significantly better than even the frankly generous amount of points you got in the Stormcast one. So you're looking at a 7.06 for the realistic points per dollar, which is not too bad. That's on the upper end of the scale, showing why these get started boxes are so much good value. Seraphon. Seraphon, best out of the order, and just mathematically in terms of value. Also, happens to be my favorite army, but I promise that's not swaying the math. So you get a Sarsoul Blood on a Connoisseur, 8 Source Knights, 12 Source Warriors. Again, we have this weird thing where they give you more than 1 unit, but not enough to make 2. So you have 3 technical full units, and I didn't even count these 2. Source Warriors are in 10, groups of 10, and the 2 extras are like a Banner Bearer and a Drummer. So it's like you can swap them in and out, I guess. So yeah, essentially this is 1 unit. The Source Knights come in units of 5 if you're using points. So the 3 out of 5, I guess it's majority, so you could count it as 2 and you be statistically, I guess, better off. But still, if you're gonna pay the cost for 2 5-man squads of Source Knights, so 10, then you need those extra 2, and it's kind of lame not to have them. Which is why, pretty much 540 is the amount of points you're getting, which is worse than Slaves to Darkness, but still pretty good. It's a little more than halfway to your 1,000-point goal, and you're staying around 6.35 points per dollar, which is not too shabby and is the best Order has to offer if you're going with the Order Grand Alliance. You're also getting 21 models per box, which is second place in terms of all of the start collecting boxes in general. Ironjawz, our first destruction. You get 1 War Chanter, 3 Gore Gruntas, and 10 Ardboys. This was nice, and is our first example of one where they give you everything in the exact amount that the General's Handbook points them. So we have 3 full units and 3 units. Excellent. 14 models, $6.07 per model. Exactly 440 points in the box, which is a little low, but this is Orcs, I guess, so, 5.18 points per dollar. Not the best in terms of value, but better than just going with Orcs, but buying the boxes separate, I guess, like all of these. So, if you want Orcs, that is, a good value, if you want these Ironjawz, but it's not as, just mathematically, you're not getting as many points for your dollar as most of the other armies. The Flesh Eater Courts. Flesh Eater Courts I wasn't interested in, really, until I did this Excel sheet, and I was like, oh, Flesh Eater Courts are kind of cool. and not just because their models look cool, but you get 1 Terrorgeist, which is an awesome skeleton dragon model, 3 Crypt Horrors, and 10 Crypt Ghouls. All 3 of these units are at full strength, so we have 3 full strength units, 14 models, just like the Ironjawz. However, you're getting a 560 amount of points. So this is an example of how same price point, same number of models, same everything, and you're getting, it's just, what is that, 120 more points out of the box. So you're getting 6.59. Pretty cool, good value. Khorne Bloodbound, another kind of the starting, the starter box and the 2 faces, I guess, of Age of Sigmar is the Stormcast versus the Khorne Bloodbound, and it's all over the top and cool looking. Khorne Bloodbound box, start collecting box, will give you a Slaughter Priest, a 10 Blood Warriors, and 3 Skull Crushers. So you get, I must have done this wrong, because what, 1, 2, 3, yeah, okay, 3, this should be 3, but anyway, you get 3 full strength units, 14 models total, 6.07 again, 460 points, so a little bit better than the Ironjawz, still not over that 500 mark, so still not getting you halfway to your 1,000-point goal, which is, at the bottom of the stack here, and is a 5.41. Again, 5.0 is a $200 for 1,000 points for Age of Sigmar. In terms of if you're using, this kind of system. Well, that's just straight math. Straight math is, 5 points per dollar, $200 for 1,000 points. But again, if you can get this box for cheaper than the 85, this number would change for you. Just divide the number of, you wouldn't change the 460, but you would change the divisor. Okay, Skaven Pestilence, very cool. This is the only one that tops the Seraphon in terms of model count for the start collecting. You get a 1 Plague Furnace, 1 Plague Claw, and 20 Plague Monks. You get 4... Oh, I know why I put 4. It's because Blood Warriors come in units of 5. Okay, yeah, so same here. Plague Monks come in units of 10, so you can technically field 4 full-strength units. 22 models in the box, which puts it at 3.86 per model, a great value. But they are Skaven, so it's a kind of horde army. You are getting exactly 540 points, just eking over the 500 point mark, and you're looking at $6.35 or points per dollar. I really it seems like a litmus test. If I'm not getting at least 6 points per dollar, it's not. I want to keep it as low. Like, I would rather keep it as close to $100 as I could to get 1,000 points. Sylvaneth, also an army that I wasn't really thinking too much about until I looked at this. Really cool. I lean more toward the Order Grand Alliance, so I may be looking to get these models in the future. You get one branch witch, one tree lord, and 16 dryads. You get 3 full strength units in the box, and dryads, I believe, come in units of 16. Let me double check that. Dryads. Oh no, I'm sorry. They come in units of 10. So that is another weird half. So you have 6 out of 10. It's a majority for your next unit, but it's not a full strength. So you might as well just have one blob, but then you still have to pay for the double. So you might as well have 20, is what I'm saying. So, which that's a little annoying. 18 models in the box, $4.72 per model. However, $480, not, so let's say you take out those 6 models and you're not going to field them, and you're just going to have the 10, the Tree Lord, and the Branch Witch, you're still getting 480 points, which beats out some of the others that are just, flat. And then if you rationalize them, like, okay, 6 out of 10 is the majority, I'll go ahead and take them and pay for the 4 dryads that I don't actually have, then you're clocking at 600, which, beat only by the Seraphon is like pretty great deal, in terms of, not fielding full strength units, but then you're looking at a 5.65 points per dollar to 7.06 points per dollar, buying it at the $85 price point on the Games Workshop website. Brings us down to Greenskinz. Greenskinz, destruction, classic orcs. You got, what struck me about this is you got the most variety of models. While you only get, I guess, technically 18 models, you get some awesome models. You get a war boss on a boar, a war boss with a banner, a boar chariot, 5 boar boys, orcs riding boars, 10 orc boys. So that's like, you can compare it to the others that kind of, like, for instance, the 16 dryads. You might get bored of just painting dryad. You got tons of dryads. This really will look more like an army when you put it out on the board than I would say this would, because this is just one blob of dryads and 2 big guys. Whereas this, you have some cavalry, you have some chariot, you have some infantry, you have a leader, hero guy. So yeah, it is clocking at the highest number of full units, including in the box. 18 models, you're paying $4.72 per model, and getting exactly 560. Really good value, getting you more than halfway to your 1,000 point goal, and you're paying 6.59 you're getting 6.59 points per dollar. I think that a lot of these models, however, you could get used, because they're not, I don't know. But if you were going to be buying one of these Get Started boxes, and we're interested in orcs, I would kind of recommend the Greenskinz over the Ironjawz, only because of the difference in value and the difference in variety as well. But if you don't like the aesthetic, totally up to you. Skeleton Horde, which is an amalgamation of some random units in Death. I don't know what's going on with the Death Grand Alliance, but it's kind of all over the place. Either way, this is pretty good, and I think one of the pretty good value mid-range Death start collecting. You're gonna get 1 Archon the Black, 5 Black Knights, and 10 Skeleton Warriors. a good, range of a big dude, really big hero guy, some cavalry, and some infantry. Now, that's 3 full strength units, so skeletons you buy in groups of 10, Black Knights in groups of 5. You're paying $5.31 per model, and you're getting exactly 540 points in the box, the same as the Skaven. So it's 6.35 points per dollar, which is, in my book, good. I think Archon's pretty cool. I really like the look of skeletons. It's not as bad as the next one, which is Malignants in terms of points value. But it's, again, not as good as the Flesh Eater Courts in terms of points value per that box. Now, looking down, speaking of, at Malignants, while they are really awesome models, they are not as good of a value. You're getting 9 models, 3 full-strength units, 3 Spirit Host, 5 Hex Wraiths, 1 Mortis Engine. 9 models. It's good if you want, elite army with, a low model count. It does mean you're paying a higher price per model if you divide it out. You're getting 460 points in the box, so you're only getting a 5.41 points per dollar you spend. If you like the looks of the models, I'd say go for it. Otherwise, I actually was thinking when I started this, Malignants are really cool. I love those spirits. But it turned out the Flesh Eater Courts is, if I ever get interested in death, that's where I'm going to go. Alright, now we go down to these demons, start collecting. These have the added caveat that they can be used in Warhammer 40k as well. So that's a kind of intangible value that they are multi-purpose for 2 different games. So asterisks on those. But let's go ahead and jump on in. For Daemons of Tzeentch, the newest of the Start Collecting boxes, we have a Herald on Chariot. I didn't mean to put 200, that's the point cost. 3 Flamers of Tzeentch, 3 Screamers of Tzeentch, and 10 Pink Horrors. 4 full-strength units, which every one of these is at full strength. Awesome. 17 models per box on the higher end of that spectrum. Exact $5 per model that you're spending, which when you see the badassness of the Herald and some of the other models, that's pretty cool. Especially, you will have to buy their newest battle tome, I think, but you don't really have to buy it, but it's got some, I think, cool stuff in it, allegiance abilities. I don't know. Anyway, 680 points, one of the highest point values per box on this list, especially when you take out the ones that got there through not full strength units. So if you're looking just on fielding units at full strength, so that's competitive wise, that's what you're going to do straight up. Daemons of Tzeentch, great box, and it's the newest, and so there's a lot of support for it. I highly recommend it. A lot of new models. 8 points per dollar, just flat 8 points, which is awesome. As close as you can get to that 10, that's my, I think, golden ratio, is getting that, I guess, if you can keep a 1,000-point army for $100, that's really good. Daemons of Khorne, you get 1 Herald on Blood Throne, 3 Blood Crushers, and 10 Blood Letters. Yes, everything is blood with Khorne. 3 full-strength units, and there are 14 models in this box, with each costing $6.07 or $6.07. By the way, this is all American, I should have clarified. You're only, however, getting 380 points in this box for Age of Sigmar. Now, that is dwarfed only by the Stormcast Eternals, ironically, if you don't count the 2 Retributors as 5 Retributors, which is weird. So not really the best purchase if you're looking to get a 1,000-point army for as cheap as you can. You're sort of spending under the 5.0 mark, so that means if you kept spending, and then, if you kept buying models at this points per dollar, which you don't get better than the get started boxes in terms of points per dollar. If you start buying just the individual boxes, it actually drops. Then you're gonna be spending over $200 on that 1,000 points. Which, if you don't mind that, and it's still less than a, video game console, go for it. Daemons of Nurgle, our last get starting box. We have 1 Herald of Nurgle, 3 Plague Drones, 3 Nurglings, and 10 Plague Bearers. All 4 of these units are at full strength, giving us 17 models. We're paying a flat $5 for each of the models when you divide it out, and getting exactly, weirdly, 500 points in this box. Paying 5.88 points, or getting 5.88 points per dollar you spend. Very nice and even. 500 points, that's getting you half the way to a full 1,000-point army for Age of Sigmar. And obviously, open play, you can play any of these, or like that's perfect amount of models for open play. But just get you halfway, and you can use them in 40k. And I have experience fighting them in 40k, and they're so freaking annoying because they're so hard to kill, especially Nurglings with objective secured. So, add that little value in, and there you go. So these are the start collecting boxes for $85 that Games Workshop sells. If you can get them cheaper, get them cheaper. If you can buy individual models, buy individual models. But just if you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna get a get starting box, which one should I get? But after you've narrowed down based on aesthetic, because obviously just because it's cheaper, don't settle for an army you don't like the look of. That's nonsense. You're getting into this game for the cool models. So do the ones you love. Even if it means you're paying more per model, it just means you might have to wait a little longer. But let's say you've narrowed it down to a few that you do like, and you're looking for a way to differentiate between those. You could look at the points per dollar ratio, which again is just take the amount of points you're getting in the box and divide it by the amount you're paying for it. So if you were able to get the box for 20% off, just take whatever value it is and divide it out, and try and shoot for that 10 points per dollar mark, because that's probably the best way, the cheapest to get to 1,000. And if you can get higher than that, that's great too. So this is the first video in the series. There will be more, and we're going to be in those looking at all of the Grand Alliances and what units within those Grand Alliances are the best in terms of points per dollar. And if you're building an army that is, for instance, all order, all chaos, or all destruction, all death, whatever, what models you should stick to and what models you should avoid if you are trying to get the most bang for your buck. Thanks. See you in the next one.